Hey everybody, welcome back to the 2003 Toyota 4Runner Part 2. We're going to go ahead and get started cleaning the carpet.
All right, so I'm getting ready to start shampooing the carpet. I'm going to go ahead and pre-treat with some carpet cleaner and degreaser mixed up together. Got some spots over here. Looks like some drinks were spilled or something. We're going to let that soak for a little while. I'm letting the heater work up on my extractor. You have to let it heat for 5 or 10 minutes to get the water really hot on it. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-treat this, and then we'll just start shampooing or extracting, whatever you want to call it, and see how clean we can get these carpets. They're not too bad under the mats. It's just the edges are really disgusting. There's the back floor seems to be a little dirtier than the front, except for where the floor mats didn't cover up here. So we'll see how clean it comes. And I've got the mats soaking. I'm probably going to end up hitting those with the electric pressure washer I have. Usually gets them pretty clean, and then we'll just let them dry. Might extract some of the water out with the machine, and then just let them sit there and dry for a couple of days. All right.
I'm making sure that I get everything covered real good, and I'm going to go ahead and hit these seats because they're so horrible. Usually wouldn't do this to leather seats, but these are just beyond repair anyway. So as you can see here, we're going ahead and getting started cleaning the carpet. I've already sprayed down the solution. We're extracting it with just hot water using our carpet cleaner, and I'm going back over it a few different times to try to get as much of it as possible up out of the carpet. We're letting it soak a little bit in between each pass. Some of these spots I'm having to go over several times. It's just years of buildup, and it's hard to get everything to come up exactly perfect, but we're going to keep going over it and over it. And we'll come back again and probably have to extract it one more time once we get all this done. You'll see some stuff settle to the surface once the water starts to dry over the carpet. We do have a fan we put on this overnight. I can leave the doors open out here and let it dry overnight as long as the weather's good, and we'll come back and see what that looks like once we get through with it. I'm going ahead and squirting down this door panel as well. We're going to wipe that down to start with and get some of the grime and grit off of it. Going back over the seats here one more time and just hitting this floorboard. It was really hard to get right up on that edge there by where the console meets the floorboard, the transmission tunnel or whatnot. It was just very awkward to get the cleaning tool in that area right there. But I'm doing as best as I can, and we'll try to keep going forward and make some more progress.
All right, I'm going to add some pre-treat to these floor mats here. Just try to get some of the stains to go away, hopefully. My water bottle here is about to give out on me. Try to get this to last here. So what this does is it starts breaking down all the gunky stuff inside the carpet. Look, I don't know the science of it. Okay, I don't know. I'm an idiot. But we're going to try to get the carpet clean with this pre-treat, and we're going to come back with the shampooer. If that doesn't work, we'll get out the pressure washer.
having to go over this mat here several times. It was really dirty. This was the driver's side mat. Trying to get as much dirt out as you can. You can see every time we pass over it, some more dirt comes out of it. And I'm just going to keep going over it until we don't see any more dirt visibly coming out of the water. And then we'll go on to the next mat. This mat is in pretty bad shape. It's torn and it's got a hole in it, but we're just going to stick it back in the vehicle. There's no sense in just not putting it back in there, so we'll just use it and keep going forward. After I get done with this one here, we're just going to work on the next one, which I've already been pre-treating, as well as the other two that go in the rear of the vehicle as well. They actually do come out pretty nice. A lot of the color is gone out of these mats, but we did get them pretty clean. Um, I'll let the next owner of the vehicle decide what they want to do with them. They can keep them, or they can put new ones in there if they want to. But anytime I have original formats, I try to keep them if at all possible. And sometimes I will put some new rubber ones on top, or if we don't have any formats at all, I'll try to get some that match the vehicle, or just put some rubber ones in there in place. Especially if it's a truck, I like using the rubber mats. But if it's a car, I try to find some that look close to the original. If you look on eBay or Amazon, sometimes you can find some that have the logo on them, and I will use those from time to time as well.
nasty. So the smell was really coming from this area here. So I'm taking some extra precautions to really clean this good. I don't normally do this to leather seats.
And this is just to show you some after pictures. You can see those floor mats, they came out clean. They are a lot lighter color than they were, but they come out pretty clean. The interior came fairly clean as best as we could get it. It's looking much nicer than it did before. And the smell is gone.
We're getting ready to do a valve cover gasket job on this vehicle. It's leaking pretty bad. Take this down here and show you. See, we got a pretty good leak there, and you can tell where it's leaking off the side over there, and dripping down onto the catalytic converters and stuff. So we're going to try to get this valve cover changed out on both sides here. Kind of see a little bit more there how bad it's leaking. So we're going to go ahead and get it swapped out. I got to start taking this thing apart. First thing we're going to do though is I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning. I want to clean up some of this area and get some of this dirt and grease and junk off of here, so when we're working, we're not knocking this stuff down into the engine. We're not getting grease and oil and stuff everywhere. We're just going to try to clean it up as best we can.
And I thought there was an alien talking to me here, but no, that's just my wife in the background. So, not having an out-of-body experience, it's okay. I have to get this intake manifold off of here so that we can reach the valve cover gasket underneath. Once we get the 6 bolts holding it down undone, we can take it off. There's a clip on the back that gave me some trouble to try to get off there. I fought with it for a little while, but I finally got it. And once that's up out of the way, we can go ahead and proceed to getting that side of the valve cover. All right, now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and take all the screws off around the valve cover. And once I get them all loose, I'll line them all up on the tray here. I think they're all the same size, but I was trying to make sure. And once we get that back one out of there, we'll go ahead and pop this thing loose. There were a couple of studs. They weren't all just bolts. But anyway, we're popping this thing loose. And let's check out and see what it looks like. Guarantee it's going to be cracked. Yep, see, it's falling off. It's hard and brittle. That corner back there is cracked. That's where it was leaking on the exhaust pipe and causing so many issues. All right, I went ahead and got that thing cleaned up. Put the new gasket on. I'm putting some RTV over there where the 2 seams are for the front cover of the engine. And I'm going to bolt these back in sequence and see if we can get it all tightened down and snug. There are some washers that had to be replaced for the spark plug covers there, and those are included in the kit, so we got those swapped out too. I'm just putting the new valve cover gasket back on there. I got the valve cover on the driver's side back on. I'm going to go ahead and get it all lined up, put some RTV on those spots, and I'm starting to tighten down the bolts now. And I got to go ahead and get those new washers put on the spark plug cover holes there. You can see the 3 bolts in the bottom of the rubber washers that I just picked up. We're going to go ahead and get those put on. And once we get all this buttoned up, we'll go ahead and get the wire harness put back in place. I do have to zip tie that harness back to the clip in the back. I had to break that clip to get it off of the bracket. It just would not come off the bracket, but that's okay. We'll zip tie it. It'll be up out of place like it's supposed to be. Once we get all this back on, the valve cover job will be done, and we'll go ahead and change the oil out in the truck and go forward with getting the rest of the cleanup done. Go ahead and get this out of the way right quick and get that intake put back on. All right, got the intake put on, got new gaskets for it. got everything cleaned up. I got the throttle body back in place. We went ahead and cleaned that throttle body really good while it was off the vehicle. And we're going to go ahead and get all the final wiring put back together, make sure I didn't miss anything. Just trying to get that clip back in place right now and the back harness, and then we will put the air box back on, change the oil, and be ready for cleanup.
Get it washed. Get it washed. Get it clean. All right, almost done with this 4Runner. I did not get the video of washing it. You'll just have to use your imagination on that. It was dark. But I needed to touch up this paint this morning, so I went ahead and washed it while it was dark last night. Now, I'm not going to do a professional job on this. I actually am a certified car painter, so I know the correct way to do this is to strip this down, sand it to bare metal in these spots, prime it, block it, paint it and clear coat it and everything. I know all that, but we're not going to do all that. This is a cheap car. It's got 300-something thousand miles on it. Just trying to make it look a little bit better. Not trying to hide anything. I just want to make it look a little better. So we're going to touch up this spot, and I'm going to hit these little spots where the hood is chipped in several places. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use some 320 on these little spots. I'm going to make like a crease with my sandpaper like that. And I'm going to come in here and sand these little rust spots out. Get as much of this rust out as possible. And I'm just going to go around doing that to each one of these little spots. I'm going to come back with some universal white touch-up paint. It's probably going to be a little bit brighter than this, but it'll be okay. This Toyota white has a tiny little bit of yellow tint to it when you're mixing it. But this bright white will look pretty decent with it. Looks better than spots. And this is just some Rust-Oleum white paint that I happen to have. I was using this to paint a freezer, a chest freezer, and actually the pump went out on that freezer before I could even touch it up. So I just have this left over from last year. I'm going to use it to hit these little spots. It'll be good enough.
I started touching up these spots, and then I realized even though I shook this paint, it did not get mixed up very well. You can see it's real milky looking. I didn't get it all the way shaken, so I'm going to go ahead and shake it up a little bit more, and yeah, that worked. That looks a lot better. So I'll come back and touch up some of those other spots once it dries up a little bit, and it won't be bulky like you see when it dries up. It'll be more flat. And I'll come back and show you the final product. I am going to go ahead and take this visor off of the hood. I did not at first see the spots up underneath it as much, but I noticed it as I was moving the camera around. I noticed it had spots underneath the visor, so I'm going to go ahead and just take that loose. It's only 2 screws. I was surprised that was all that was holding it on. I figured surely it had some tape or something, or some double-sided tape, but it did not. It was just 2 little screws. So I took that loose, and I went ahead and painted the bottom of the hood with the white paint after I sanded it, and it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not paint booth quality, but it'll look pretty good for the time being. So it'll match the rest of this vehicle, let's put it that way. And that'll do it for this one. I actually got a call. Somebody wanted to buy it as I was finishing up here, and so she came and bought it the next morning, and truck is gone. So I can't complain about that. Just showing you some after photos here. Like I said, I took pictures that night, posted it online, and somebody was interested in it. She came and purchased it the next morning, so I can't complain. Hey, that hood looks good from about 20 feet away, doesn't it? And I know I'll get a lot of hate in the comments below about that's not the proper way to paint a vehicle. I know how to paint a vehicle. This is an old car with 300,000 miles on it. That Rust-Oleum paint is probably going to outlast the rest of this car. And I let the buyer know what to expect when she came and purchased it. It was exactly what she was looking for. It was in her price range. She didn't care about any of that. Now let's talk about numbers. Looking here, we had a total cost of $1,678, and we sold the car for $3,000 out the door, which was $2,848.57 total sales price for the car, leaving us with $1,170.57 in profits. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.